I have often railed against the woke infiltration of Hollywood and other entertainment sources. However, I have also said that if you are looking for an escape from that, look no further than anime. There are plenty of film and television shows that ig- ignore it completely, that don't dive into that extreme political correctness. And these comments from an editor of the hit manga Vinland Saga seem to affirm that.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Airy. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, consider becoming a channel member. Like I said, I always am going after the woke. Why? Because they're a bunch of whiny brats. Usually they're spoiled. They grew up in very opulent lives, and they think that if you don't like a particular filmmaker's style, that that's somehow hatred. That is how they perceive the world through this other dimension where everyone is a victim. Well, except white straight males, of course. Doesn't matter if you're a poor straight white male, you're still, not a victim. You're still somehow an oppressor. And for those of you who say, Jacob, you can't even defend wokeness. Okay, well, that's easy. If woke was a term used by the black community to just say, are you aware of what's going on socially? However, highfalutin elitist liberals hijacked the term, which because they all have this white savior complex, and they made it about extreme political correctness, where everyone is a victim. You look at it through the lens of Marxism, and that's basically the definition of woke. It's just society through the lens of Marxism and political correctness to the nth degree. So I complain about it all the time. However, I try to present solutions. I tell you, hey, if you're tired of woke in comic books, read the read the Rippaverse, read iconic comics, read manga. If you're tired of it in animated shows, watch anime. And this comment from the editor of the Vinland Saga, now not the creator of Vinland Saga, but a guy who edits it for publication, he had some very interesting things to say about this and how it is interacting with Japanese art. So this is from Bounding into Comics. In the opinion of current editor-in-chief of Kodansha's weekly afternoon manga magazine Akira Kanai, the opinions and socio-political views of Western audience should have absolutely no bearing on the creative decisions of Japanese manga. And he's 1000% correct. It shouldn't have bearing on anything that's going on in Hollywood TV. Sadly, it does. Continuing on. Joining Kodansha in 1994, Kanai served as an editor across a number of the publisher's various manga magazines until eventually being promoted to his current position as of 2015, during which time he oversaw a number of notable manga works, including Gaiman Sakurai's Agent, Ben Kasamuziya and Saburo Megumin's Fragile, and Makoto Yukimura's Vinland Saga. And it was in his position as a manga industry veteran that Kanai offered his opinion on the topic of the West's ever-growing attempts to force their cultural standards upon Eastern media during a recent career retrospective interview given to German manga news outlet Manga Passion. As to what extent do you already think about the potential international success of manga and whether he tries to work with mangakais to perhaps try to make their works more accessible to audiences outside Japan, the editor confidently asserted, no, not really. For example, there are various codes against the depiction of violence, against the depiction of nudity, whether male or female, or religious codes that I follow. However, I think there are no fundamental differences in the population in terms of what they perceive as important, be it in Japan, Germany, China, or South Korea, even if it is the case on a political level. Continuing, Kanai then declared, I don't allow myself to be influenced by so called political correctness abroad and design the works accordingly. I think that it is interesting if it will usually be understood regardless of whether you came from Africa, Chile, or Greenland. I've never made a big deal of it so far, said the editor, but even if a work takes up a very Japanese theme, for example, or a German work takes a very German theme, a Chinese work, a Chinese theme, in the end, the root is the same, I think. Stopping a work because it deals with a problem that is too Japanese or specifying to do something that hardly ever happens, Kanai continued. More specifically, I wonder if there is a difference in Japanese entertainment content between works that are internationally successful. Is it the work that focuses more on the Japanese market or a global market? Further expounding his argument, he opined, I don't think it's possible to create works that are exactly in the middle, nor would such works really appeal anywhere. Boom, nailed it. Take Skip and Loafer, for example, another series serialized under his Watch and Weekly Afternoon, which is about a girl who comes from the Japanese countryside and moves to the Japanese city of Tokyo alone to study at a good high school. Kanai added, I think people all over the world will certainly understand her feeling of insecurity in the same way. That's why such works tend to appeal to an international audience. In this respect, I really don't think that works need to be adapted for audiences outside Japan, he concluded. Although I'm not sure why, or excuse me, although I'm not sure how it is for people from countries where there are no rural areas or no cities. I have no idea what it's like in Dubai. Maybe I'm biased. Haha. So, yes, show me the lie. I love how these mangakais, whenever they're interviewed or they're asked about Western sensibilities, and by the way, wokeism isn't the West. It's based on Marxism. Same with political correctness. It's based on Marxism. This idea that we have to appeal to a collective instead of the individual audience members. And you do want general audience to appreciate your work. I certainly hope that's true of my novels as well as my upcoming one, Blessed Child. But I don't want to just sit down and think, how can I mass appeal to everyone across the globe? Should I insert certain person of color here? Should I make this certain character abled? Should I make this person beautiful? Should I make them ugly? I don't worry about that. I let it grow organically, which is how it should be. And so I'm so glad that this editor that he stood up against political correctness and said he's not going to allow it to influence his work at Kodansha, which, like I said, I'm very excited for. We have seen how when the woke infiltrates other countries, how it just turns to rubbish, right? We've seen that across the board. In certain manga titles where they adjust it, they'll adjust the dialogue to make a person seem trans. A good example of this is Comey Can't Communicate, where there's a character who he's just a little troll, but in when it came over to Netflix, when they did the dub, and later they did this in the sub, they turned this guy into a non-binary who uses they them when that's not how it is in the manga. In the manga, he's just a little troll who likes to tease people because he's kind of androgynous, and that's how he rolls. He just likes to troll people, which I think is kind of funny, but then Netflix has to ruin it by making it a political statement. It's absolutely dumb. It's absolutely stupid. And so I am very happy to see that this guy is standing up to it. And I'm happy to see that manga publishers, as well as anime producers, that they're taking a stand against it as well. Because when the localizers were being criticized for trying to put their own sensibilities and saying, oh, no, it's my work. No, sweetheart, it's not your work. It is the original creator's work. You are just translating it. And listen, I get it. Sometimes in other countries, they have different laws regarding foul language. So sometimes I don't have a problem with them replacing, say, GD with gosh darn. I don't think that's bad because you want to tone it down for the audience that you're trying to sell the work to. However, I do think that when you're changing the whole context of a sentence or changing the whole context of a person, that is an issue and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be summarized because it is something that is happening, and good for the editor over here at Kodansha, the editor in chief at Kodansha, for taking a stand and saying, no, thanks, but no thanks. We're going forward. We're going to try to appeal to our home audience, and hopefully it'll have appeal abroad, that these universal themes of friendship, heroism, truth, that they will overcome and we will see more. And I think as long as that attitude stays the majority in Japan, in South Korea, heck, even China, which hopefully the artwork will change China and will set people free from the Chi-coms. I hope that happens. With all this in mind, I really hope that that will start to influence the work in the United States and not the United States woke Hollywood directors and filmmakers and producers. I don't want them to influence the East. I want the East to influence them and see an end to political correctness, because that would be awesome. If you like that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment and tell me what you think. And of course, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring the little bell so you get notifications, and consider becoming a channel member, where you get all kinds of exclusive perks, including once a week where I release a video to my members first. So you get the first look, and then I plan on doing a lot more perks as well as more live streams later on. But if you're watching me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey, then, and you're like, hey, yeah, I don't really like big tech, no problem. Click on the link to my locals page. It's in the description. You can support me there. It's kind of like a Patreon or Subscribe Star for indie creators like me. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH, country limit.